Buenos días, es el miércoles y son las 12. Hello everyone, it's Wednesday and it's 12 o'clock, so it's time for Community Spanish, broadcasting every Wednesday and Friday at 12. One quick announcement before we get into today's topic, today's video, is that as many of you may have seen, we have published our first some of our first children's books in Spanish, including the new La Familia Rocha series, which is a cartoon series based on the life of Rola's director, Ed Rocha, and he has written all the content for that. So the first book is now out, and we've been seeing that had a great response so far, and we've been seeing this book slowly moving its way up in the Amazon bestseller category for Spanish children's books. So for a quick plug, if you would like to buy a copy, you can find one on our website and help us help us move our way up the rankings to reach our goal to make #1 in this category. And to kind of help launch this new book, we are going to be having an event coming up with more details shortly about a read-along. So we're going to essentially have a big Zoom meeting, and the director of Rola is going to lead it and have everyone have their copies together so we can read the book together. So that event is going to come up in March, and so please keep an eye out on our social media for more details about this event. So we're really excited for this new book series, and we have a lot more content coming out for that. So that announcement aside, I would like to proceed with today's Community Spanish video, which we are going to be working on a little bit of review, working with verbs of stem-changing verbs, especially O to UE. We're going to be doing a translation exercise to help put all of our skills to the test. I've done a lot of translation exercises in these videos because I think it's a really great way for you to practice putting all of your skills together in one place. Some of the kind of individual exercises we do are great for practicing certain skills, but of course, what you really need in order to be a Spanish speaker is to be able to put all the things together in one place. So not only the grammar, but the vocabulary and other things to keep in mind. So that's why I like to do a lot of these translation exercises to help you to hone those skills. So let's get into our exercise for today. Again, practicing with O to UE verbs. If this is a topic that you are new to, then what I would recommend is you pause on this video for right now, and you can go to our website, to rolanguages.com, to the Facebook Live page of the website, and I recommend you check out the original video I made about this topic, so you can make sure you can learn it and feel comfortable before joining us here for the review. So again, this is a review video, so we're going to be doing the exercise with the assumption that you have studied this or have some familiarity with this. So we're going to go march ahead, but again, feel free, especially if you're watching this video not live, you feel free to go to the website and check out the original video before you come back here to do the review of your skills. So as we go through the exercise, please feel free to jump in and go along with me as much as you feel comfortable. If you're watching this on Facebook, you're watching this on YouTube, I would invite you to write your own comments, write your answers to the questions in the comments below. So por favor, escribe tus respuestas en los comentarios abajo. And so even whether you're doing this live or you're doing this after the fact, it's still a great practice to practice with these translation exercises. So let's get into the exercise. Starting with número uno. So número uno, I don't remember the password. So again, in this kind of exercise, we have all the elements we need up at the top between the pronombres personales, el verbo, el vocabulario, y la traducción en inglés del vocabulario. So we have the 3 parts we need. We just need to work on assembling all these parts together. So, okay, so starting with, I don't remember the password. So for the yo, we're going to be using obviously the yo form for I. So yo, and then we also need to bring in a negative here. So making sure that we're going to incorporate the no in front of the verb. So starting with yo no recuerdo. Yo no recuerdo. And then the password, this is where we need our little bit of vocab. As I said, part of these exercises is to help combine grammar and verb knowledge all in one spot. So yo no recuerdo, and then we have the password up front is la contraseña. La contraseña. La contraseña. So all together, repita después de mí. Yo no recuerdo la contraseña. Yo no recuerdo la contraseña. Muy bien. So again, always repeating these after me after we do each sentence will really help you to not only work on your pronunciation, but help your brain to internalize the information that you're seeing on the screen. Número dos, you remember the recipe. You remember the recipe. So starting with tú, okay, tú. And then our form of recordar being the infinitive, because again, we're practicing here is the O to UE. So the infinitive is recordar with an O. And in our conjugations, you can see how that stem is changing. So tú, and then for form, we can see it ahead of us, but also hopefully is in our memories. As I said, this is a review. So tú recuerdas, and then the recipe is going to be la receta, la receta. Tú recuerdas la receta. Repita conmigo. Tú recuerdas la receta. Muy bien. Número 3. She remembers the names of the students. She remembers the names of the students. This one a little longer. So she, ella, and now we need the form going with ella. El, ella, usted share the same form of recuerda. Okay. Ella recuerda. And then the names of the students. Okay, so we have to put together the names of the students. Los nombres we have in our vocab above. Los nombres. And of the students, de los. Hopefully this vocabulary is very familiar to you by now, as this is probably what you are for Spanish, is estudiante. So all together, por favor, repita después de mí. Ella recuerda los nombres de los estudiantes. Super trabajo. Okay, on to número 4. Do you remember the song? So here we have a question. Do you remember the song? So remember, when we do a question, we're going to swap the order. So in a sentence, normally we would do the person and then the verb. For questions, we have to keep in mind that we need to swap those. So instead of tú recuerdas, we're going to say recuerdas tú. That's like saying, do you remember? Recuerdas tú. And then the song. The song, we can see it from our vocab or hopefully from your brain, because again, this is a pretty common word. So hopefully you know this one by now. Recuerdas tú la canción. ¿Recuerdas tú la canción? ¿Recuerdas tú la canción? And making sure, although I did not put that upside down question mark in the front of the sentence when you're writing questions in Spanish. Okay, on to número 5. We're already more than halfway there. They remember the trip to Costa Rica. They remember the trip to Costa Rica. So going with ellos or ellas, depending on what you decide to represent the they. So they, ellos, and then our form of recordar, going with ellos, as we know and can see, of ellos, ellas, ustedes, is going to be recuerdan. Recuerdan. Ellos recuerdan the trip to Costa Rica. So we have here el viaje for the trip. Again, another super common, very helpful vocabulary word to know. El viaje, and then to Costa Rica, a Costa Rica. So vamos a repetir todos juntos. Ellos recuerdan el viaje a Costa Rica. Muy bien. Okay, on to número 6. I'm going to scroll up a little bit so we can see. Okay, he does not remember the old house. He does not remember the old house. So here's another negative. So if you make sure to keep in mind that no going in front of the verb. So he, él no recuerda. Él no recuerda, or ella no recuerda, usted no recuerda, all sharing the same form of recordar. So él no recuerda, and then the old house we can see from our vocab, la vieja casa. La vieja casa. Ok, vamos a repetir. Número 6, todos juntos. Él no recuerda la vieja casa. Él no recuerda la vieja casa. Okay, dos más. Sorry. Oh, actually, no, up to 10. So we have a few more to go. Número 7, we remember the password. We remember the password. Going for the first one into the nosotros, right? Nosotros for we, or nosotras, again, depending on what kind of group you're representing. Nosotros for a mixed gender group or all male group. Nosotras for all female group. I'm gonna go with nosotros. Nosotros, and then remember. So now, keeping in mind, here's where we need to see that, we have to keep in mind that there's no irregular in here. In the nosotros and vosotros forms, these ones stay regular, so no stem change. So nosotros recordamos, not recuerdamos, but recordamos. Nosotros recordamos, and then back to our vocab word, la contraseña. So todos juntos, nosotros recordamos la contraseña. So if you have learned this before, you've seen some of my original videos, you'll keep in mind that with these verbs, we call them boot verbs because the shape of, if you outline where the conjugations are irregular in a normal verb chart that has 3 rows and 2 columns, if you outlined where they are irregular, you would see a boot shape. So these nosotros and vosotros are outside of the boot, and again, remembering the boot is about for irregular verbs. So if it's outside of that irregular boot, then it is regular. So that's why we have recordamos instead of recuerdamos. Okay, número 8. Do you all remember the recipe? So here's another question. So again, remembering to swap the verb and the person. So for you all, in this case, I'm going to use ustedes. You could use vosotros if you're learning more of Spain Spanish. Since I'm teaching more of kind of general Latin American, South American Spanish, I'm going to be using ustedes. Okay, so with the ustedes form, we need to use the conjugation recuerdan. Recuerdan. So again, as we are swapping the position, where instead of saying ustedes recuerdan for a sentence, we're going to say recuerdan ustedes. So swapping the order for a question. Recuerdan ustedes the recipe, la receta. Vamos a repetir. Recuerdan ustedes la receta. Recuerdan ustedes la receta. Do you all remember the recipe? Muy bien. Okay, ahora, 2 más, 2 more to go. Número 9, I don't remember the names. Going back to yo form, but now we have a negative. So yo no, and I know it's just cut off a little bit off the page, but we can remember the form going with yo is going to be recuerdo. So yo no recuerdo for the verb, and then the names from our vocab, los nombres. So todo junto. Yo no recuerdo los nombres. Yo no recuerdo los nombres. Okay, on to the last one, número 10. You formal, remember the trip to Guatemala. So you formal, now we're going to be using the usted form. As we know, usted to speak to someone politely. Usted, and then remember, so that's, as we know, el, ella, usted, all sharing the same conjugation. So usted recuerda. Okay, the trip to Guatemala. So the trip, el viaje. And now instead of a Costa Rica, which we had in the last one, we're going to say now a Guatemala. So todo junto, usted recuerda el viaje a Guatemala. Okay, muy bien, excelente trabajo. So that wraps up this exercise. I know there are many stem changing verbs out there. So this is just one verb to work with, but there are plenty of other exercises, including we are going to be doing some more together in the upcoming videos. So we're going to practice a little bit more to put together our stem changing verbs and our vocabulary and putting everything together in one place in a translation exercise. So you can look forward to more videos like that next week. And in the meantime, if you'd like to review any of the previous material, or if there's something that you feel like I never learned this in the first place, then a great resource would be to check out on our website, RolaLanguages.com. On the Facebook Live page, you can see we have a library of all the videos we previously made, including some extra worksheets to go along with many of the topics. So if you want to get a little bit of more independent practice, you have lots of resources there for you to check out. I'll next be back on Friday at 12 for Community Spanish. Gracias y adiós.